Hello ladies and gentlemen, Sigval Green here, and today we are going to have somewhat of a tier list where I tell you in which order you should build a character and what takes priority over other things. And this will have certain tiers like don't build, maybe build, build later on, build as soon as possible, and stuff like that. And in this one, I tried to kind of draw the line for the newer players that get their hands on some characters and make them kind of get around what they should build. Because one of my subscribers has taken to level 60, his first character being Unbreakable Cyborg. And while he had fun with that character, he enjoys playing that character. That character is not an optimal character to put your first resources in, and that hindered his progress. And like that, there are many players that don't start off with the right character, and in Just 2 Mobile, it's very important to start with the right characters, so those right characters will provide you in the future with the resources you need to build the characters that you really want to enjoy just for the fun of it. So yeah, with all that being said, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. A huge percentage of you are not subscribed, it only takes one click and you can always change your mind. Oh, so yeah, let's get into it. We're going to start with the first tier, and this is called Don't Build, but I mean, if you got the first 4 tiers that we'll talk about later, you can pretty much build anything you want, so you can build any of those characters for the fun of it. But please, don't build anything from here until you are going to have most of the characters in the game that are really needed. Because those characters over here are going to be one of 2 things. 1, useless. 2, support characters that don't need to be built, and they are not the best support characters. So, Amazonian Wonder Woman, she's going to be a silver character, she only has a shield, you have no real reason to build her. Silver Bane is going to be a good support character, but again, you have no reason to rush into building him, and if he's built, he's going to make no difference compared to not built. His passive is going to be the same. Blue Beetle, a character that does not do much and is not going to perform well for you outside of Arena NCA, and not amazing there even. Blade Master Robin, a terrible character, it has a borderline useless passive and the stun. Batman Ninja Batman will be by far the weakest Batman Ninja character that I don't really recommend you build, because he's just built badly as a character. Batman Ninja Harley Quinn, with this one it's a little bit weird, like you don't need to build it, but having her in your roster will passively buff your Batman Ninja characters. So with this one you don't build her, but you might want to get her gradually towards 6 stars and towards level 70, because she gives the Batman Ninja characters stats equal to a percentage of her base health and her base attack. And the base health and the base attack increase with the star rating and with the levels, so you should take a look into that. Next up, Classic Batman. A character that I have not seen anybody build or anybody put to good work. You could argue that he could be a tier higher, but there's just not enough data out there to go by, and I'm not going to try it myself. Captain Colt is not going to be a great character, like he's got a borderline useful passive, he's got a set of abilities, but you are in no rush to build him. Cheetah, just don't. Do yourself a favor. Forget that character exists in the game, for the time being at the very least. Enraged Pain, terrible character, terrible passive, brings nothing new to the table. Firestorm, you could put him in some teams I guess for the passive that gives you dodge resistances, but he as a character is pretty terrible. Master Thief Catwoman, actually Silver Catwoman, no, it's Master Thief Catwoman I think. This one is going to be terrible, does nothing much, and maybe put her in the operations because of the passive, but definitely don't build her. Powered Supergirl, by far the worst Power Girl or Supergirl character in the game, don't build her. Primal Swamp Thing, don't build it. Silver Aquaman is going to be a pretty damn terrible character compared to his other variants. Like, don't get me wrong, as a silver character he's pretty good, but you get yourself Atlantean Armor Aquaman that does exactly the same things that this guy does, but far better and a little bit more over the top. But you can use him for his passive that gives stun resistance, power my teammate when you fight boss last ever Joker, so keep that in mind. But he does not need to be built for that one. Next up, Sonic White Canary, the worst character in the entire game actually, or maybe close to it. Don't build it. Next up, Silver Catwoman, same as with Master Thief Catwoman, don't build it. Silver Deadshot, you could put him in a team because he gives some critical attack chance with his passive, but don't build him. Silver Green Arrow, not the worst character on this bottom list, but you have no reason to build him. All he does, other Green Arrow characters do better. Silver Gorilla Grodd, don't build it. It's just a weaker variant of Telekinetic Gorilla Grodd, so why bother? Silver White Canary, don't build her. I mean, she's got some interesting passives when you pair her up with Silver Green Arrow, but she's not going to do much. Silver Harley Quinn, don't build her. Her passive might actually be pretty useful with the additional damage on the swipe right attack in Soul Rays or something like that with the Firebox, but you don't need her build for that. Next up, Silver Scarecrow, don't build him. He's a very below average character. Like, he does some stuff, but is not enough to really be interesting. So Stare Dr. Fate, he's got an interesting passive, I guess, swapping the health with the opponent when he uses super move, but you are by far in no rush to build him, and you shouldn't. Silver Swamp Thing, don't build that. Silver Flash is going to be a useful support because of the fast stack on his passive, but at the same time you are in no rush to build him, and you don't need to build him for that. Silver Joker, a pretty terrible character, don't build him. Next up, Silver Wonder Woman, she's going to have a shield. That's literally everything she can do. Don't build her. Next up, Unbreakable Cyborg, don't build him. He's got the stun, he's got the power drain, but nah, he's not enough to be worth building. And Unhinged Harley Quinn, just don't build her. She does not really do much. This was the don't build tier. Those characters you should really look into building when you got everything you need in the game and you just want to have fun. Until then, they are not going to add any plus value to your roster and to your performance into different game modes. Let's move on to the next one. This one is going to be called Maybe Build. Those are characters that are not the best at something, are not necessary to be built, but you might get some value by building them. So we'll have over here support characters that can do just fine without being built, but eventually you might want to build them because they are always put in a team or two. And we'll have characters that are going to be average damage dealers or average tanks. We'll have better options compared to them, but at the end of the day you might eventually build them for the fun of it, and they will bring much more value than the don't build tier characters. So yeah, starting off with Armored Superman. Armored Superman is going to be a character that everybody has. He's going to be a useful character, especially in the early parts of the game. Has a useful passive, he's got a shield, he's going to perform well for you even if not built. You might eventually want to build him, but he's definitely not a priority. Next up, Atrocitus. Atrocitus is a great character because of his passive, and it's an amazing passive, but you can do that without him really being built. You might eventually build him for the sake of it and because he's going to be in many teams, but you are in no rush to do so. Next up, Brainiac. Yet again, he's going to be in the team with Black Manta, so you might as well eventually build him, but until then you don't really need to build him, you're in no rush. And at the same time, you'll need to build a little bit on this guy. You'll need to give him a little attack chance for him to transfer into Black Manta. Other than that, I don't care about his build. Next up is going to be Classic Superman. Classic Superman does not really need to be built because he's a support character, but you could make him more tanky to not die while he is performing the support character role because it's an active role, decreasing the defense of the enemy. And at the same time, some people build him as damage dealer, so you can try and do that yourself, but it's not a priority. Dark Supergirl, again, the definition actually of an average damage dealer and a poorly implemented character. You could eventually build her, you're in a rush to do so. Emerald Green Lantern, same deal as with Atrocitus. You're going to use him mostly for the passive. He's going to be a little bit better than Atrocitus as a build standalone character, but a little bit worse as support character, so you might as well build him. Grid is situational support. He's going to be good against Justice League team, but other than that, he's not going to perform amazing, but you might as well eventually build him. Horrific Scarecrow, same deal as Atrocitus and Emerald Green Lantern. He's going to be there for the passive, but he's going to be in many teams or any team you want, so you might as well eventually build him. But yeah, not a priority. Justice League Batman, the worst Justice League character. Maybe build him at some point, make him a tank or something like that, but you are in no rush to do so. Multiverse Black Lightning is going to be an alternative as a budget version of a multiverse character damage dealer. You can use him without being built in Arena NCA for the early part of the game. You might eventually want to build him, but you're in no rush to do so. Multiverse Batwoman. Yet again, same deal as Multiverse Black Lightning, decent damage dealer, but the problem with those two characters is that you get Multiverse Supergirl, and she performs far better than them. Multiverse Supergirl, yet again a fun character to use. You might eventually want to build him because she's pretty good in the arena, but you are in no rush to do so. Multiverse Green Arrow, maybe build it. He's the same thing. He's going to be pretty useful in some specific situations. You can use him in arena NCA, but you're in no rush. Multiverse White Canary, I would have put her into the don't build list, but lately if you have the high level rod, which most people don't have, you can use her as support character for Silver Banshee in phase 3 hugging the left side of the map. Aren't that pretty useless? So yeah, you are definitely in no rush to build her. Mythic Wonder Woman, yet again in no rush. It seems like a good damage dealer, but she's not really, because she synergizes with the Justice League characters, and by doing so she occupies a spot in the team without giving anything back to them. So you are better off just using the Justice League Cyborg, Justice League Flash and Justice League Aquaman, or the Justice League Superman, Justice League Cyborg and the Batman character team. So she really has no place in the Justice League team, so without keeping that in mind, she's just an average damage dealer. Nightwing, yet again, an average damage dealer, or an average combo builder, or an average support character. This guy is a jack of all trades, but master of none. You might eventually want to build him, but you are in no rush. Red Hood. This one is a tricky one. You'll eventually need to build this guy, because he's a support character for the Multiverse team when they fight Captain Colt. And he's going to have to be built a little bit tanky, because his role will be using the super move to extend the duration of the fight. But as he uses the super move, he will ideally need to tank the super move of Captain Colt. So if you build him tanky enough so that he survives the super move of Captain Colt, you don't need to worry about tagging in right before the Captain Colt super move and he using his super move, and then Captain Colt uses his super move and kills him. It's just a little bit of a relief when playing raids if you build him, though you are in no rush to do so. Silver Cyborg, a pretty damn decent tank. Again, tanks are not very much valued in this game, but you might as well eventually build him. Speedforce the Flash will play the role as support character for the most part because of his passive that gives fast attack to the entire team. You might eventually build him, but you're in no rush to do so. Same with Silver Green Lantern, plays the role as support character. You might as well build him eventually, but you don't have to. Silver Robin is going to be a pretty decent combo builder. Problem is that he's a silver character and you'll need to get his gears piece by piece and get them to level 60 gears, and nobody got time for that. And while he's a great combo builder, he's not really needed in any of the meta teams, so you might as well not build him. Silver Superman is not going to be great character to build straight on. He's going to be a pretty damn decent tank, but you're definitely not in a rush to build him or to build any tanks for that matter. Starfire, same deal, a tank, a good tank, but you don't really need tanks for the most part in this game. Then Sub-Zero, he's going to be good in Arena and the CA, but you shouldn't really build him as the first one, and at the same time he can do the same things if he's not built. Telekinetic Gorilla Growth, good in Arena and CA, useless in Raids and Soul Raids, you're in no rush to build him. And exactly same deal with Harley Quinn Wonder Woman. She's going to just have an armor pierce, that's why she's in the maybe build tier, but other than that, not amazing. So yeah, this was the maybe build tier. Definitely don't rush into building those guys, those should be the last alternatives of your roster. Let's move on to the next one. So now is the build later on tier. Those are characters that are going to perform either amazing in Arena and CA or fill a very niche role that you could though put other characters in that niche role. So we are in this video of course going to prioritize building characters for Raids and Soul Raids, because if you build something for Raids and Soul Raids, you're going to be able to use that in Arena and CA. And those characters in this tier are going to be the top of the top for Arena and CA, but they are not going to be as hard than build later on, because in this game, building for Arena and CA is not a priority. First of all, Darkseid. He's a great character for Arena and CA, amazing, but he's not a priority. I've seen countless new players that get randomly a Darkseid, and you see that their Darkseid is level 70 gears, and their King of Lands Aquaman is level 20 gears, and they are like, why am I not progressing in soul rates? Well, because you're using Darkseid as your main damage dealer, and he's not supposed to do that. He's supposed to be great in Arena and CA, and that's okay. And you don't really need a character that's good in Arena and CA for the most part in the start of the game. You really need to focus on raids and soul rates. So yeah, if you get Darkseid, maybe get him to level 20 gears, maybe get him to level 40 gears, but don't rush into building him because you got other priorities. Atlantean Armor Aquaman, I have found that this is really a character that you don't really need to focus on building sooner. Like I started an account around 7 months ago, and in the first 2 months I was farming shards for Atlantean Armor Aquaman non-stop because I knew how good he is. He's amazing in Arena and CA, and I just kept farming shards, and then I was getting Elite 4, Untouchable, the next thing else after Untouchable, and then I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I fighting Atlantean Armor Aquaman? Like, he's amazing, but I simply don't need him. So you might be in the same situation. But he's great for Arena Champions Arena, he's so good. Next up, the Suicide Squad. Like, first of all, in order to build them, you need to have all of them. If you have all of them and all of their gears, they will perform well in Arena and CA, but nothing more than that. Ace Green Arrow is going to be a support character that will power drain the enemy, and when he tags out, he will power lock the enemy. It's going to be particularly useful in terms of Phase 4 and in terms of Darkseid. For Phase 4, he does not really need to be built, but in terms of Darkseid, he will need to be a little bit built because Darkseid will deal a lot of damage to him. Next up, Flora Poison Ivy is going to be a very cheap and budget damage dealer for Arena because of her special 2. That's armor piercing, that's going to be map wide, and that's going to be undodgeable by the enemy. Amazing about that, but she does not do much in raids and soul raids, so don't rush into building her. Maybe get her in a decent spot to perform well for you in Arena and CA if needed. Like get her to level 20 gears, maybe level 40 gears, but don't rush it. She's not really needed. Nightmare Batman, the same deal as usual. He's a tank. He's a great tank, one of the best tanks. He's going to be amazing for CA especially, but you are in no rush to build him. Rayden may be the best character for Arena, but again, you don't really need to build characters specifically for Arena, and in raids and soul raids, it does not do much. Silver Batman is going to be a pretty versatile damage dealer for raids, soul raids, Arena and Champions Arena, but at the same time, in terms of raids and soul raids, he's simply going to be average at that, and you'll need to take him from 0 since he's a silver character, so you are in no rush to do that. Hellboy, he's going to be a tank and a support character for fights that have hazards on the ground, so you might as well eventually build him if you need him for that. You are in no huge rush. You could kind of make a budget Hellboy at level 40 gears to tank for you in some specific fights in soul raids, but other than that you are in no rush. And last one is going to be Batman Ninja Robin. Batman Ninja Robin is going to be a great character for raids and soul raids. Amazing actually. But the thing is, he does not have to be built because he's in the Batman Ninja team and he's a support character for the most part. And because of that fact, he does not need to be built, he just needs to be there to provide his passive to the other Batman Ninja characters. You might eventually build him because he's pretty damn decent as a character himself. The only problem is that you get better options being your Batman Ninja Catwoman or Batman Ninja Lord Joker as a replacement for her. So yeah, this was it for the build later on list. Now let's move on to from the build after as soon as possible tier. I have taken the liberty to really arrange them in the priority order that I think they should be built, to be even more specific. So it's from the left to the right, the far left being the first priority out of all of them. So starting off with Power Girl. She's going to be a great character, a great support character. She'll be in many teams and you'll most likely use her in every single raid that you do. And she's the top tier over here because she can act like a decent combo builder herself and you're going to have her there anyway as a support character. And she is going to get her gears from raid drops, so you might not need to take a huge investment. Next up, Reverse Flash. He's going to be a universal combo builder, usually goes with Silver Banshee, but he's got 3 fast stack hits. What more do you really need? He's going to be able to be put in any team, so you might as well just build him. Next up, Black Adam. It's going to be the definition of an above average damage dealer. He is going to deal around top performance, I think it was 40 million in normal rates. He's going to do decent in solo rates. He's going to do great in arena and great in champions arena. He's not going to be the best character in the game, but it's going to be a pretty accessible budget damage dealer that you might want to build. Next up is going to be Dr. Fate. One of the best combo builders in the entire game because he's got the infinite combo with the Firebox, and you'll eventually need to build him to build the ideal team for Phase 3 where he is a tank. Jon Stewart Green Lantern is going to be yet again a tank for Phase 3, the alternative to Dr. Fate, and you might as well build that since he's going to get his gear drops from raids, so you don't really have to worry about that. I put Dr. Fate before him because of the fact that even though Jon Stewart Green Lantern will be easier to build since you get his gears from the raid drops, if you use him, you'll lose the Shazam in that team. But if you use Dr. Fate, Shazam and Conflans Aquaman, and you are going to be fine with that. So that's why it's better to have a Dr. Fate build for Phase 3, even though a Jon Stewart Green Lantern is going to be the easier option. Next up is going to be Flash. Like, Flash is good to have built, he's good for Arena and CA, and he's pretty decent in terms of raids and soul raids, but the real problem with this guy is that he usually goes with less of the Joker or Manta, and in those teams, he does not do anything but being a support character, so you might eventually build him, but he's not the utmost priority. Just like Aquaman, yet again, he's not going to be the utmost priority, but he's going to be a decent character to have built. And if you are using Just Like the Flash in another place and you don't have Just Like Superman, you're going to use Aquaman and Cyborg in a Just Like team with Bane or something like that. So he might as well be built. So yeah, this was the build after as soon as possible tier. Those are characters that you should build if you have built to a reasonable place all the characters that are in the tiers above. Or the characters that you have that are in the tiers above. Let's be clear about that one. Now let's move into the next tier. Next up we have the tier of build as soon as possible if. And we have above it a tier that's also called as soon as possible. And they both have kind of the same priority, but the thing is with the characters that are in build as soon as possible if, they require a certain something. They require a certain amount of characters to make them work, they require a certain team to be made work. So the characters that are in the higher tier that are built as soon as possible, if you got the character, if you got the gears, it's going to perform well for you and it's going to be a long-term investment. But characters in the build as soon as possible if are going to require a very specific set of teammates that are harder to come by. First, we got the Heartbreaker Harley Quinn. This should be a character that you should build as soon as possible if you got yourself Arkham Knight Batman and Entangling Poison Ivy. And yet again, they are arranged in the order of priority. She's definitely a great priority and you should build her as soon as you get her if you have the other conditions. Last of the Joker, a great character for raids. Not so much for solo raids, amazing for Arena and CA. You should build him as soon as possible if you got Entangling Poison Ivy with gears. If not, hold on to that. Entangling Poison Ivy, you should build her if you are going to use her in the Last of the Joker team. And you of course have Last of the Joker with gears. If you don't have Last of the Joker with gears or you're only using her in the Heartbreaker Harley Quinn team, then don't build her. Batman Ninja Catwoman. You should definitely build her if you got the Batman Ninja team. Batman Ninja Gorilla Grodd and Batman Ninja Robin. If you're missing one of them, then she's not really worth building. Because she really needs her teammates to work. Just like Superman. Only build him if you have Just Like Cyborg and the Batman character, or he can work with Just Like Cyborg and just the Batman character, but not as well, and he's also hard to come by in terms of gears, so that's worth keeping in mind. Definitely a high priority character, but he requires some specific things to really work well. Just Like Cyborg, build him if you got or either Just Like Flash and Just Like Aquaman to pair him up with, or Just Like Superman. Also, his gears are kind of hard to come by. Arkham Knight Batman. Like, if you don't have Heartbreaker Harley Quinn, he's going to fall in the build later on category. Same deal with Darkseid, great for Arena and CE, not needed in raids and soul raids. But if you have yourself Heartbreaker, Harley Quinn, and Entangling Poison Ivy, then he's going to be in the best team that you can have for raids and soul raids. So if you have those two, and you can use them efficiently, then definitely build them. Multiverse the Flash is going to be another character on this tier. He's going to be a pretty high priority character, and he's going to kind of need Multiverse Supergirl to be effective, since she's the damage dealer that she's paired up with. But he's going to still be decent if you use him as a combo builder, because he's got 3 fast stack hits and he can combo build for any team. Multiverse Supergirl. If you got Multiverse Flash, definitely build her. If not, don't. Last will be Lord Joker. Lord Joker can be a great damage dealer, can deal in some certain scenarios more damage than Batman Ninja. Did I say Multiverse Joker? Batman Ninja Lord Joker, excuse me. He can deal in some certain scenarios more damage than Batman Ninja Catwoman, but you should only build him if you want to replace Batman Ninja Catwoman with him, because you don't have her gears or something like that. Overall, Batman Ninja Catwoman will be a better investment, so only build him if you have Batman Ninja Robin and Batman Ninja Gorilla Grodd, and at the same time if you don't want to build Batman Ninja Catwoman. So with all that being said, let's get into the build as soon as possible tier list. In the build as soon as possible tier list, as you can see, we got ourselves around 6 characters, and we are going to go over each one of them. They are yet again in the order of which you should prioritize building them. And those characters are going to be characters that will perform well for you regardless of if you got other tools to pair them up with. Because either the tools that are required to work in terms of other characters are easy to find, or they are not so dependent on them as other characters. So as long as you get the character, as long as you get the gears, those 6 characters are nothing to stay away from, and they are go-to, and they will be a long-time investment. First up, the first character on every single account that you should really build is going to be King Flant's Aquaman. He's going to be an amazing character. He's going to be available in the League Store. Everybody gets him. He needs a Dr. Fate or a Power Girl to really work. Shazam is optional. Like, he's going to perform better with Shazam, but you don't have to. And he's going to deal huge amounts of damage in raids and soul raids. Like, having him built will tremendously boost your progress. So if you ever ask yourself the question, what is the first character that you should build? It's going to be King Flant's Aquaman. Next up is Black Manta, and I know, right, it's so hard to get, most of you will not get him, and even if you get him, you'll need to pay 10 bucks for his gears. But if you get him, and you pay 10 bucks for his gears, that's all you need. Like, the ideal team for him would include, like, Brainiac and Justice League Flash, but in all honesty, you can make him work with Silver Batman and whatever. He's going to be an amazing character that does not really require a specific team to work. He's got an ideal team, but he can work around it and will perform amazing for you in Arena, CA, Raids and Soul Raids. And he's the best character in the game in my opinion, so you should definitely build him if you get your hands on him and with gears. Batman Ninja Gorilla Grodd. Another character that's an amazing character, and you should definitely build as soon as you get your hands on him and on his gears. Like, first of all, he's going to be a great character for the Batman Ninja team. He's going to act like both a support, a combo builder, and a damage dealer in there. But if you don't have the Batman Ninja team, then there's no problem, because he can be a combo builder, because he reduces the defense of the enemy with his basic attacks, and at the same time he generates power with his basic attacks. So he will be a hell of a combo builder. So you might definitely wanna build yourself a Batman Ninja Gorilla Grodd as soon as you are able to. Silver Banshee. I mean, the ideal team is to have either Predator Batman with her, or Reverse the Flash and a power reduction character. But she will do well enough for you even if you don't have those, and she'll be an amazing damage dealer, a top 6 damage dealers in terms of raids and soul raids, and she'll be decent in Arena and Champions Arena, and she's pretty easy to get, so you might as well build her. Predator Batman, this is a weird one, and some of you might be like, why did you get him so high? Well, because he's very versatile and a long-term investment. Like, if you got just Predator Batman, you can build him and he will do decent for you in terms of raids and soul raids. Like, not the best thing in the world, but at the same time not the worst thing in the world. And if you eventually want to replace him with a better damage dealer, then, well, replace him with Silver Banshee and use him as a combo builder for Silver Banshee, because you can definitely do that. That's a legit team. So he's so high because he's all around the board a very balanced character, a character that will not let you down, and definitely a character that can build combo into a team that's going to be a long-term team. And the last one is Shazam. He's the last one in terms of the highest priority ones in my opinion, because he's amazing, don't get me wrong. But the real problem is that you are in no rush to build yourself tanks. Damage dealers take priority over tanks, and at the same time he's not the best combo builder in terms of raids and stories, because he might randomly activate his third ability and screw up your combo if not, even when not needed. So well, he's a great character. He's not like the first thing you should focus on, but definitely a worthwhile investment. But by the way, you can leave him at level 40 gears for quite a while because he's pretty comfortable there. He does pretty well. But yeah, with all that being said, in this list I did my best to kind of tell you in which order you should build your characters and what should take priority in your roster. Yet again, if you don't have anything from a tier, then move a tier below. If you don't have anything from that tier, maybe move a tier below, or maybe wait, I don't know. But this is the order in which characters should be done in each account, and you should not build anything that's below the build as soon as possible if tier until you get everything over here, or when you get to the point where you have nothing else to be built from over here. But yeah, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I would really appreciate you to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Like, I'll do more helpful content like this. And if you don't like what the content that I do, you can always change your mind. Only takes one click. So with all that being said, I'll see you in the next one.